We have Maurice Kalinowski with us, and he will be introducing Qt Visual Studio's tooling. So, take it away.
Thank you very much for the introduction. First of all, I'm very positively surprised to see so many people here, as that might not necessarily be the most interesting session for you here in Qt. And secondly, I'm holding you back from lunch. So let's try to make it a quick one. As already been introduced, my name is Maurice Kalinowski. I'm a principal software engineer at the Qt company located in Berlin. And well, we want to talk about the Visual Studio tools, what we did have in the past, what we're currently working on, and then do some quick demo. And then afterwards, like, what's the potential direction we want to go with the Visual Studio tools. First of all, some of you might ask, why are you doing Visual Studio tools at all, or in Visual Studio integration? I mean, you're seeing quite many topics and agendas here talking about Linux, embedded Linux, using Qt Creator. You have your own Qt Creator IDE, so why at all do we take care to integrate into Visual Studio? To summarize, it's your decision to do what you want to do. And to be honest, when we're targeting Windows platforms, Qt Creator cannot do everything you can do from inside Visual Studio. Most prominently, remote debugging. On Windows 10 Mobile and Windows 10 IoT Core, that's the MSVS-Mon executable, which is taking care of the connection, and there's no way to hook in there. That's just pure Visual Studio. In addition to that, with Visual Studio 2015, there has been quite a lot of additional plugins you might want to use, which are not available to Qt Creator, etc. So there is certainly a workflow and reasons to use Visual Studio. And once again, to emphasize, it's not either or, and it's not Qt Creator versus Visual Studio. Both have their reasons, both have their targets, and it's basically your choice. Going to be talking a bit about the history, because that has been a bit confusing maybe from our side. Initially, we had a Qt Visual Studio integration. That was in 2000 somewhen. I couldn't find the date anymore. That was for 2008, or Visual Studio 2008 and 2010. The big advantage of that was that we had a Qt designer integrated into Visual Studio, so you didn't need to jump out of the IDE to do, well, designing work, and also the translations, linguists were integrated, etc. So that was already pretty neat. You were able to switch and upgrade the Qt versions inside of your project very easily, compared to using QMake and creating a Visual Studio project once, and then being tightened to the Qt version you have had. What happened afterwards is in 2009, you might know that Trolltech was acquired by Nokia then, and for internal reasons, we were not supposed to make an integration anymore due to the license terms of the integration. What we could agree on is that we use the AddIn API of Visual Studio, which is far more lightweight, but also has different terms and conditions. So we needed to stick to that. And all the examples and great features I was mentioning before were kind of missing in the add-in. Like, when you wanted to edit a UI file, it was launching Qt Designer then externally. So you were switching between applications all the time and not staying in your development workflow inside Visual Studio. On the good side, Qt 5 has been coming out at that time, and we needed to push some effort into the add-in then also to support that, support multiple versions. Initially in the commercial edition of the Visual Studio add-in, and now also in the open source version, we do have support for Qt Quick code highlighting, for the keywords, etc. We don't have a support for the code model in the add-in, so code completion will not work for, with the add-in. What happened then is that with Visual Studio 2013, Microsoft decided to deprecate the add-in API again. And we were completely underestimating the pace between deprecating something and actually removing it. So we were quite shocked when in Visual Studio 2015, add-ins were removed. We were hoping that it was a bit longer, like fluent time in between, like 2 or 3 Visual Studio versions. So that hit us pretty hard. And to be honest, the feedback from your side also was pretty hard towards us that we don't have any solution for Visual Studio at that point anymore. So now we're moving towards 2016, introducing the Qt Visual Studio Tools 2.0, where we are basically moving back to an integration. The Visual Studio Package API as such is, let's say, the newest version of the integration API, which has been used in the very first Visual Studio integration. We are also taking that step right now to clean up quite a lot, because the code from integration to add-in starting in 2000 somewhen has been old quite a bit since then. So we are also doing lots of refactoring. And we're targeting Visual Studio 2013 and 2015. And to be very honest, it's going to be Qt 5 only. We'd still get some requests in terms of what's the situation for Qt 4, we still use that, etc. But for the Visual Studio tools, we don't see the reason why we should do that. Because we just want to move on forward, get in all the features again, and then having to handle so many different Qt versions, and especially for build integration, that's like a huge effort, and Qt 4 is not worth it for us at that point in time. In addition, you can still use the add-in, the old add-in. So maybe I should show you around a bit. Maybe quick question. Who of you is already using the Visual Studio add-in here? It's like, oh, it's pretty many. OK, so for those of you who use the add-in, they will feel pretty comfortable or pretty much know what, can you still hear me? Pretty much know what I'm now going to show. So is that readable for you? Is that OK? OK, so most prominently you will see the menu entry where you can then specify your own Qt versions you have available, which you register towards the add-in. What I want to highlight here is that it's not only working for different Qt versions, but also different architectures, meaning 32-bit, 64-bit, etc. We have had issues in the past with that, but that is working right now. There's also like different set of items, properties, where you can also then specify in the add-in itself. So to get started, it's the regular workflow. You want to start a new project, and you will see an entry here for which type of Qt application you want to create. So in that specific case, we want to create a Qt GUI application. Wait, OK, next. You can specify which modules of Qt you want to use. Let's stay with the easiest case now for right now. That's going to be using widgets, etc. Default options, and we just hit finish. And it will create a Visual Studio project for you. Just a second. OK. So that's the vanilla code you do have, like regular main. You create a Qt application. You have the Qt GUI application which then does some initial startup work, which then uses a UI file, as I was talking about before, and then sets up everything. So maybe let's just start with running that so that you can see that it's actually doing something. And, well, there you see it. There's still a high DPI issue with the header, but that's a system one. OK, but there you see basically the empty application starting. So let's start to put some content into the application. As you see, we're not there yet. It's still launching the designer externally. So maybe we want to have some labels. Add two labels to designer, and maybe use a button. And save that design. If we now rebuild and restart, we should see that the application has been updated. That's the empty one then. That's the very easy case. Sometimes I need to be brave right now. So let's see if already the code completion is working. No, it's not. I'm not sure when Visual Studio actually starts to add the code completion for items being changed in the UI. That seems to be a bit of out of our control right now. Maybe let's just, for easiness, include whole Qt core here. And when we create a Q string, let's say Qt version, Latin 1 string, and we have like a Qt version string. Where is it? Qt version string, that's a simple string which specifies the Qt version you are using now to compile the application. And at that point, set to text. Well, for the push button, maybe you should have been using the label, but in any case. What I want to show you is that, and that is also an item which has been discussed heavily on the add-in itself. If the debugger steps in here, let's make it a bit smaller, we do have visualizers for Qt internal items, meaning Q strings, Q objects. If you have, well, all the various types will be displayed properly inside here, and you won't see like this is an object which has a private object which has that. If all you want to know is like what type of string is that, I mean, what's the content of the string, that's what you want to see in there. So we took care of that. And now, as you can see, the label basically specifies 5.7.0. And if you want to switch the Qt version, let's quickly do that. Basically just go here and select the 5.6 version. We're not taking care yet automatically about rebuilding everything, so that's still a menu step you need to do. And if you launch the application win again, breakpoint, when you see 5.6. So that is working easily now, already with the updated version. Another thing that I've been told to add is, or told to mention, is that if you create a new class itself, maybe let's do that quickly, not in an add Qt class, but we'll take care of lots of the logistics. But, oh, sorry. New item, where is it? I'm lost right now. There it is, sorry, class. So we want to add a new class to your project, something, and that is supposed to be from, well, initially maybe not, been derived from a Q object. And you want to add, that is kind of weird, but it's not supposed to happen. I have prepared something. I'm sorry for that. What I wanted to show you basically is that during compilation, we will now recognize also if you have the Q object being added manually, and will automatically invoke the mock step for you, etc., which has been quite tedious in previous versions. When you wanted to use a Q object, you need to specify that you forgot that, and basically your whole build status was completely bogus at that point in time. So yeah, sorry for that. It wasn't working at that point in time, but that's basically the quick introduction we have here right now. The idea is right now that we want to get to the same feature set like we have had for the add-in. And maybe, oh sorry, that is, now it's starting again from the beginning. We were. If you want to try out what we currently have, there's multiple ways to get that. You can get that from your Qt account, you can get it from download.qt.io. Our plan is also to provide that in the Visual Studio Store itself, so that if you go to the extension directory, you can easily grab for that. We are aware of the fact that there is actually another version, which is not made by us. I want to be very clear on that. That was a person who, well, saw that we didn't have an integration at that point in time, and he wanted to jump in there, so he took the add-in code, basically tried to recompile it as soon as it recompiled, and then pushed it to the store. It's not in best shape, but it was good until we basically got the time to get into doing the Visual Studio tools. As I'm talking about in the near future, maybe I should also mention when we are planning to do 2.0. Right now we have released Visual Studio Tools 2.0 beta. We don't have a strict timeline for that when we want to be finished. As I mentioned before, the whole idea is we want to push out 2.0 as soon as all the features which were available in the add-in are available in the Visual Studio Tools. But still, my request towards you is now to start testing that so that we also know that all the features are working and not some edge cases we're missing. So we want to proactively get in touch with you and get feedback about what's missing, what's working, etc. And maybe just as a last item, talk about what we are focusing on in the future. All you have been seeing so far is still Qt Widget, integrating Qt Designer. I didn't show any QML. The highlighting is working, but that's about it. So we want to have a look at the code model itself, how we can integrate. Well, there's two means to that. It's pretty easy to hook into Visual Studio another code model right now, and we have a QML code model in Qt Creator. So right now the idea is like how far can we extend the code, the QML code model from Creator and hook it into Visual Studio. But for us it's easier to just maintain one code model. On the other hand, you also get all the benefits from inside Qt Creator. So that's a really big item for us. Another bigger item is your Universal Windows Platform. Right now, the add-in only supports classic or Win32 applications. As soon as we release the add-in, the amount of bug reports we got in terms of the add-in doesn't work for WinRT succeeds the amount of bug reports we get for the whole port itself. So let me be very clear that this is not supported yet, but this is actually an item we plan to do. And also that as you have been switching Qt versions, you can then switch between Classic app and WinRT app. So if you want to go to the store, you just switch the Qt version, get your package, and be done with that. That's the whole idea. And lastly, QML debugging. That clearly is the most hoping at some point item, to be very honest. There is still a lot of work being done there in general about QML debugging. But it would be beneficial to have the very same experience like on Qt Creator when available, that you can jump into the JavaScript code and also see the object tree, etc., what's happening when there. So those are the items which are basically planned from our side. And as I've been mentioning before, we want feedback. So far, we knew that you were asking for the very same feature set like we have had before. That's easy to do, but where should we go? And now I presented you some ideas, but we also want to know where you want to see Visual Studio being integrated. Luckily, I had a chance to talk to you before today at the booth about CMake, etc., and how that cooperates with Visual Studio and Qt, like it's three beasts cooperating. We really want to know what is the setup you are working with, and how can we help to make your project then succeed. That pretty much summarizes it up, and thank you for attending, and whoever has the mic is now, there was one question already.
Hi. About the... One second, sorry. I don't know how to formulate, if anyone else.
Maybe someone else wants first? I don't know. There's a...
I know these are more related in name than substance, but are there any plans or views on having integration with Visual Studio Code rather than the...
No, not yet, to be honest.
Okay.
Actually, the person who has been developing the integration is using Visual Studio Code in his spare time. But so far, no.
So we have this source code which we want to be cross-platform compatible, and some people work on Windows, Visual Studio, some people work on Linux, and some on OS X.
Yep.
And we would want something integrated in the IDEs so that any change you have, like adding a file or I don't know, maybe adding a file to be reflected on the CMake file maybe, or on the QMake file, which generates. So if you work on the solution file, then you don't get those changes. So
yeah, there's it's bringing in many variables, to be honest. You can work on the profile. The Visual Studio tools are also capable of importing a profile and making a Visual Studio project out of that, and can keep that updated. So that might help you from the Visual Studio side. It doesn't help you then on Mac with Xcode, for instance, when you have the same situation there. If you create a new project and just use a Visual Studio project, then you're perfectly right, you cannot even port your project over. We know that QMake itself has its limitation, and CMake has very much a reason to exist. So, as that question was before, you could use CMake then as a build tool for all the platforms. That is easily doable. If you're developing on all three platforms, I mean, I didn't say, or did say in the beginning, you could also use Qt Creator for that. So those are basically the options you have in that case. But yes, getting all those different platforms, build systems, etc. integrated is a complicated topic. That's true. There's one in the back, and then you.
Hi, hello. Thank you for the presentation. Does this work on Express Edition?
I'm sorry?
Express Edition, does this work?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there is no real Express Edition these days anymore for Visual Studio 2015. It's the community edition only, yes.
Oh, community, yeah.
Yes, that works. Actually, on this notebook, I'm actually for testing using the community edition.
Okay,
so.
Thank you.
Thanks. As you said, there is no deadline for your new add-in version, right? So
There's dates we want to have it released.
okay, thank you. My question is,
Yeah.
now our team is quite heavily rely on the current version add-in,
Okay.
but there is, as you know, there is some small bugs.
Yeah.
So, is there any possible for you to still maintain the existing add-in to fix some such as bugs like this?
I mean, the whole point is that we wanted to get rid, but update the whole add-in towards the Visual Studio tools to fix all those bugs and have a cleaner code base. The add-in code is there since 2004 or something like that. That's the reason.
Yes, it's very old.
I would rather encourage you to try out the Visual Studio tools as they are in the beta right now and tell us like, okay, maybe there's still another bug, or might actually be that the things you are now having a bug in the add-in is already fixed in the Visual Studio tools.
Yes, we will try it, but you know, it's not so confident to use it in a productive environment.
Because it's a beta.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Are there any further questions? Well, if not, thank you and enjoy lunch.